Order the 937th meeting of the Directors of MSAD 27. Roll call.
Christine Rioux.
Here.
Shannon Lugden.
Here.
Katie Levasseur.
Here.
David Susi.
Yep.
Tanya was in.
Here.
Toby Chandro.
Here.
Rory Collins.
Here.
And our student reps are not here
Yeah.
tonight. Yeah, right.
All right, board officers.
Because every first meeting of the year, we start off with electing board chair, vice chair, and treasurer. We would need to do that to start today's meeting. And I can't be nominated.
Oh, shucks.
The time would save you.
Yeah, right?
Anybody interested in being chair?
So nobody makes eye contact.
Everyone looks at their shoe. Now everybody tell me what you're wearing for shoes. Vice chair, anybody?
I would do vice chair, but I would not be chair.
Treasurer, anybody?
I'll do it again.
Katie, the treasurer.
My recommendation was to nominate you as chair, Tanya as vice if she wanted it, and well, I can't nominate myself, so.
Ken.
Shannon as treasurer.
Nope.
All right, so
Can I second Katie's nomination for board chair?
Sure.
Okay. So we get the ball.
You guys are already doing a better job of being a chair than I am tonight. So we got a nomination and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. You've got it all set up. So we had a volunteer and a nomination. You can take the nomination.
You can take the nomination if
Okay, so we
Tanya's
have a nomination.
willing.
That's me.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
A second from Shannon. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Did you have a question, Lucy?
First was Kate.
Yes.
Motion. And second.
Shannon.
And then I'll nominate Katie as treasurer.
And I'll second.
Tanya seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous.
PAT.
There you go. Vice chair.
Well, thank you.
Any adjustments, Ben?
There are no adjustments.
Have anybody in the public who came here to talk today? It's not looking good. Approval of minutes. We had a small meeting. With some minutes there. I think there only were 4 of us there. I'll entertain a motion from one of the 4 of you.
So moved.
Shannon?
And I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Passes. Financial statements. I guess we'll start with any questions, any discussions on financial statements?
Is there anything in either of these 2 documents that we should that should be highlighted for us?
Just that in May 1, you may notice that the column for this current year is higher than last current year. That's because this current year had 3 payrolls in that month, and the prior year only had 2 payrolls. So that's one of the reasons why it's higher. The June one always tends to be higher than the previous month because we're tidying up year end, and even invoices that we get in July, we backdate and pay with the June finish date. So that would be major highlights. But we're on track to what we had planned.
I'll make a motion to approve the May and June financial statements.
And I can second that motion.
Tanya seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous.
I don't know.
Generalized anxiety disorder, that's what we call it.
It's the first time I ever see that.
Yeah, that's new to me too. All right.
Yes.
So, we have a presentation.
We do. We have our local credentialing committee chairperson, Sadie, and co-chair, Sam. Sam's not here?
Sam's running.
Okay,
She has
Sam,
something
Sam,
coming up,
will-
so she's
Sam will be
hopefully
here.
popping in, but yes, for me.
And they're here to basically share what the LCC process is, which is how our teachers get recertified after becoming initially certified by the Department of Education. So every teacher, once they meet all the requirements, they submit to the DOE. The DOE either grants them certification or tells them what to work on. Once they get that certification, then they're in the hands of our local credentialing committee to get recertified every 5 years. So Sadie, thank you for being here.
All right, I am gonna go up on the board, so I'm not sure where to stand for
Wherever.
everyone, but I will get connected.
There's no right way to set this up, is there?
I know, as I was trying to figure it out while I was sitting, I was like, I don't really know.
Either the crowd sees nothing.
Right.
Mhm.
Hold on, I can't type numbers there.
This is your first test, Mitch.
I know.
No pressure.
It's only the 4th one of these I've done today, and unfortunately, so you'll need to restart your laptop.
You want me to, I'll also reboot the Apple TV.
Yeah.
So Mitch, we hired you and the way that you're going to fix everything is
We
turn
restart.
it off and
Have
turn
you
it
turned it
on?
on and off?
Restart.
Yeah.
This
Is
okay.
it plugged in?
Yes.
Any hotline though you call, that's the first thing they ask you. Did you restarted your device?
Did you unplug?
Did you? Yes, exactly.
Is your
All
caps lock on?
It's like when she walked up for the Apple TV, I spent like an hour in Kurt's room today doing the exact same thing, and we had to just restart it to get it to go. I'm like,
No.
sometimes it is that simple.
Well, I don't know how to
We'll
restart.
give Sam a few minutes.
Usually just you restart that, it works.
So while Sadie's getting that going, recertification is also required for ed techs under their same system. For administrators, we actually are part of a collaborative that involves all of Valley Unified, and we have a board that comes together, and we also have to recertify every 5 years. So it's the same thing for all. This is for the ed techs and the teachers.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. So we, for the most part in the district, we're called the recertification committee, which is the LCC. So I am the chairperson, Sam is our vice chair secretary. Our committee is made up of 7 members. We have representatives from FKES as well as here at VRMS and CHS. So the LCC kind of has 3 components. We have committee responsibilities, the teachers have responsibilities, and then we also are part of the mentor-mentee program. So we are the ones in charge of setting that up. So I'm going to go into each part and what it entails. So for our committee, we do meet monthly. We provide support services for all candidates seeking renewal. So as Mr. Sidwa said, once the state grants a teacher their 5-year professional certificate, every 5 years they have to renew that certificate. So we are there to help support them with their plan, and that's why I'm going to keep going, through that process. We make sure that they have assignments of mentors for our newly hired teachers. We review action plans and eligibility for certification. We help maintain documentation for all professional staff. And when you get a certificate from the state, it is a professional certificate, so that's why that means professional staff. If you do not have your professional certificate, then usually you're granted a conditional, and that's like a state plan, so that's not what we control. Then we also just maintain contact with Mr. Sidwa in regards to certification statuses, if people are changing or running out of their certificate or whatever, just to keep that conversation going. So, teachers in the district are responsible to create a professional certification action plan. They need to submit the plan to us in prior approval for the professional development. So every 5 years, teachers have to have 90 hours of professional development. They can choose how to pursue that professional development by making an action plan. So action plans can consist of reading books and taking notes, submitting those to the principal, getting those signed off on. It can be taking a class. Once you get your grade, those credits transfer into us as professional development. Just regular workshops that are provided maybe by the DOE or other groups that put on any type of professional development that we have. So we have to keep track of our 90 hours, compile all that documentation, and make sure that it gets brought to the recertification team. Once you're up for renewal, it is up to the chair and co-chair to go on to the DOE site and let the state know, like, yes, these teachers have done, so we have to approve them for renewal. So that way that the teacher can go on and renew their certificate and get their renewal for the next 5 years, and then it starts all over. They make a new action plan for the next 5 years, complete the 90 hours, submit it, and so on. Once you make an action plan, sometimes things come up as you're going. So teachers have to submit an amendment to their action plan. That way just letting us know what they will be working on. The big thing here is prior approval. So we let all teachers know that if they don't have what they're wanting to do for professional development in their plan, we don't approve it. So sometimes teachers will send us stuff that was not in their plan and we can't accept it. So just keeping track of what is in your plan and your hours, so that way it adds up to 90. Okay, so here's this is what our current document is for teachers to fill out. So they have to, the big thing is the objective, so just what is their goal, what do they want to achieve as far as growth within themselves. It can be their content area. The last 5 years, the technology usage has been a huge one, just because, I mean, COVID, all that, a lot of teachers had to get really tech savvy with the way they present their materials and things like that. So the objective is just what are they wanting to get out of their plan, show growth in so that they can apply it to their teaching abilities. Then the activities can go with it. So a teacher may want to do something with technology, for example. They may attend workshops, they may read a book, they may listen to a podcast, like then they get to decide on how they're going to achieve that objective. The next part of the recertification team is the mentor-mentee program. So newly hired teachers do get assigned a mentor teacher. Depending on the experience of the teacher that is hired, the mentorship can be from 1 to 3 years depending on what they might need for support services. So someone coming in with a lot of experience from another school might only need 1 year. Someone who is like brand new and has lots of different areas that they're working on might need to get 3 years. So it all depends, and the recertification team and the administration kind of determines what that mentorship can last. So as the mentor-mentee program, mentors and mentees have to meet weekly. We, as a recertification team, have a monthly log and a template of different things that they can discuss and kind of look upon to try to make sure that they have all their bases covered, they don't have any questions. Mentors do have to complete at least 2 yearly observations on their mentees. If the mentor or mentee decide they want more than that, the mentee is like, I'm really struggling with this part, can you come in again? Like, it can be as many times, but they need at least 2. And just any type of support and assistance that the teacher may need. All of that documentation, again, has to be submitted to the recertification team. So we at least have it documented that they are working together, they're supporting each other, and helping grow. And this is just an example of what the monthly log looks like. The possible topics can sometimes be really lengthy just because the differences between the elementary and the high school. Sometimes, we have winter carnival, we have end of semester reporting that looks different than theirs. So it's just a list of possible topics that they may need to address. And that is it. Do you guys have any questions or for me?
Now, the workshops that you attend like throughout the school year, can that count towards the 90 hours?
If like
today.
Like today.
Yeah.
So today there was no presentation of like new material.
Okay.
So it would have to be if sometimes at these workshops, if there is designated time where someone is doing some sort of training, then that trainer has to give the teacher some sort of documentation that they completed, an hour workshop. Like sometimes we have the workshop set up where like we have breakout sessions where there's a bunch of different topics going on. You can choose which one you go to, and then that can count. It depends what. Like today, there was no like learning objective kind of.
One rule of thumb that we use, if the PD is something that's required for your job, so every year they have to do an annual FERPA training, an annual sexual harassment. They can't count those because they need those for their job.
Yeah.
So those are not professional development; they're job requirements. A lot of times if they're signing up for classes, like one of the questions when they're registering for a class, is this part of your recertification plan? So that it flags them that they should ask it to be before they take the course. We don't want to spend money on something that they can't use for recertification.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Wow, that's set up really thoroughly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Sadie.
Thank you.
What's nice too is that the DOE has moved completely online with recertification. So I have on my calendar every first of the month to go into the portal, and it'll give me a section where it says it'll say educators flagged for certification. You go in and you see highlighted in red who's not certified for whatever reason, and so we can get in contact with them right away. It doesn't happen a lot with the teachers because the team is always on top of them, but it might happen with a new hire who forgot to do their fingerprinting or CHRC or that type of thing. So it's a good process that keeps us always in check.
How's the support from the state on this? Do they audit these, or do they just not hear from them usually?
Actually, if we have, like you said, if we log into our online portal, so that's kind of like we're responsible for checking up on that. If we have questions, they're very good to, we have like an email, we have a contact that we always email. And as far as, I think like the site is set up that it flags, it also like sends out emails to like the teachers and let them know like if their certification is coming up, if it's overdue, if that kind of stuff.
How strict are they on the expiration? So like, let's say the teacher's kind of scrambling at the end of the 5 years and needs like an extra month or so. Are they pretty lenient?
From what I've seen, they've been kind of within a month. There'll be kind of a grace period, but it's kind of, you have 5 years.
You figure it out.
It's your responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah.
And after that, we've seen people, they are rejected certification. So,
So we haven't seen that in a while.
yes.
But I will say, I've seen it in another district that I'm in charge of recently. And what we do is we use the threat of, we're gonna put you on a long-term sub basis. You will no longer be a teacher here. You'll be on a long-term subcontract until you figure this all out. That usually gets them moving pretty quick.
And like we said, like we keep track of everyone's hours that they're submitting. So like if we get to like their last year and we see that they only have 20 hours submitted, like pretty much every month we're contacting that person, like, okay, what's your plan? What are you doing? You know, so we're kind of on top of them way before that comes.
And there should be no reason. I guess that's my point, like, of clarity here. That's why I asked those questions. So in that case, though, like, I know you probably speak to the teacher, but could this be part of, like, personal development plan? Because that's pretty...
It's, yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
And when it does, it's somebody who's just not on the ball.
Well,
And
right. Well,
they've
if
had
they're not on the
difficulties
ball
with
with their
that.
own life, then are they on the ball with their kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, my aspect. That's why I was questioning.
5 years seems like a long time away until there's only a year left and you haven't started anything.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
I know.
four,
I'm
yeah.
dealing with it right now with my
And
certification.
that's it, like,
I'm
we
like,
send out yearly reminders, we
Yeah.
do a beginning of the year letter, we do an end of the year letter, like,
Yeah.
just try to keep reminding, because yes, sometimes it catches up on you.
yeah, cool. All right.
Thank you, Sadie.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sadie. All right, Superintendent.
I have just a few items for you. First thing is your annual report, and if you look at the one that we sent electronically, we had resent you last year's. So if everything in the report seemed the same when you read it online, it's because it was the same. We sent you the 2023-24 report, so my apologies, but in your packet you do have the correct one, which is the 24-25 report. It covers everything from my welcome letter, you as board members, your contact information, the budget information, school enrollment information, attendance and truancy, dropouts, our state assessment data, special education numbers, early college, graduating class, our staff information, and then our staff highlights. One thing that caught my attention, and I had to verify with Sylvia Dow-Harvey, who is our attendance coordinator, was our daily average attendance rates. Those did go up 2% across the board, which is wonderful. And then our truancy numbers are really down compared to the previous year. We went down 22 from our attending students. We went down 559 unexcused absences from the previous year, which is amazing. So kudos to our team for really looking at all that and making those adjustments.
There's a significant jump in enrollments in grade 10. What happened there? It's like 20 kids.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
it is.
but weird.
Well, no, it goes like,
The-
it goes
So
like
you-
Oh,
grade
yeah,
9.
yeah, you gotta follow
So
the
this
grade
grade
9.
follow the
nine
color.
is now grade 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
What I'm
okay.
wondering is what happened to
That makes sense.
to the 11th graders that are now seniors?
The 11th graders are now seniors.
So the,
Yeah,
or the
yeah, just
63 to 56 seems like
awesome
we lost
numbers.
7 of them.
Is that to the new program, like as far as like getting a GED or whatever?
No.
Or is that, I don't know.
Because
I don't know
we're,
if that's
we're,
always been
we're
out there.
counting the students that are here and over there in
Yeah,
this, right?
yep.
So that's all, that's everybody.
That's everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't know why we'd, lose that many students, 7 students in a year.
It's too bad.
I know, like, our dropout rates are very low. We did have one dropout.
Do you know if that's due to homeschooling? Do they
That
have
student
gone in-
dropped out and went to adult ed.
Yeah,
Yeah, and got their,
but like the drop
Right,
from.
Right, that's, okay.
yeah.
Like the 63 to 56, would that be like kids maybe that went into homeschooling?
It could.
Yeah,
It could
okay.
be, yep. Yeah, it
Well, I
could be.
know, but then
Your family moving away
they
too.
get there last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
True, yeah.
I was sharing with our new teachers, way back when we were in the Valley Unified thing, for the school, we had done that enrollment study that projected where we would be, as soon as this year. We were supposed to be down Valley Unified across to 1,300 students, and we're still above 1,450. So the projections showed that we would be declining faster than we are, which is good. You see by the numbers, we seem to be hovering around the 50s, 60s for classes. We do have a smaller pre-K class last year. What's our pre-K enrollment this year? It's smaller this year. 41.
Last year, weren't we like 60-something?
Last year, 57.
57.
Yeah, okay.
So a smaller pre-K class this year, but. And that's what I have for your annual report. We're gonna publish this on the district website. Mitch, we're gonna put this on the district website. Okay. The second item I have for you is the MSAD 27 PEPG plan. That's the Educator Effectiveness Plan. And some of the conversations that came up in negotiations were reflected in this plan. They were agreed upon by the PEPG committee, which is made up of the majority of teachers. You can see those changes at the bottom of page 10 and 11. At the bottom of page 10, and both of these changes are specific to directed improvement plans. So when a teacher is put on that step 2 plan, they haven't met the goals in that step 1 plan, which is the monitored growth plan. They're still struggling. They get put on this directed plan, which is very intensive. We put some language there about excessive absences. We felt in negotiations, as did the teachers, that teachers who are using all of their days excessively and now asking repeatedly for time without pay is not a good reflection on professionalism. And this excludes somebody with medical conditions and that type of thing. This is not for health emergencies, but somebody wants that extra vacation in May. It's not a school break. I've already used my time. I'm going to request 5 days without pay. This language reflects that these folks can be brought to the board, can be brought for non-renewal. And then at the bottom of page 11, anytime during the learning facilitator's employment at SAD 27, they are placed on more than 2 directed improvement plans, they can be brought for non-renewal. And we talked about that 3 strikes you're out policy. And so that lives in their document now. Which they were very open to.
Because there was no resistance there at all. I think they recognize when somebody's, it's hard to work with folks who are struggling, and they gotta make sure they get the help they need. If not, move them along.
Well, it kind of reflects on everyone. If someone's not doing their part.
We're seeing more. So, just so you know, with the EPL law, back in the day, 5-6 years ago, every teacher had 12 sick days and 2 personal days. Is that what it is? 12 and 2?
I think so,
Yeah. 12 sick days, 2 personal days. And you have a 182 workday calendar. So you work half the year, you get all those vacations off, all the holidays off. You have your 2 personal days and your 12 sick days. Now with the EPL law, you essentially have 5 personal days, right? 40 hours of EPL, it comes out to 5 personal days. That's opened a big can of worms. We have folks, luckily not a lot, but we've had growing instances throughout Valley Unified and from my colleagues when we speak at superintendent's meetings. Folks are exhausting those 5 days and their sick days, and they are requesting leave without pay on a regular basis. Luckily for us, our professionals are not doing that on a large scale, but it is disruptive to the flow of school. And we definitely have to address it as they're coming. So one challenge that we face today is that EPL time and that excessive use of time off. The other two things that I had for you are we had our Valley Unified Administrator Retreat. We had that on August 5th. It's the third or fourth year in a row we meet at the Lakeview, and we just have a full slate of things that we talk about and discuss between the three units, and then in the afternoons we break out by district. For this district, we broke out and we worked on our strategic plan to identify and be able to show to you, hopefully next meeting, where we've met things so far and where we're going this year, specific to the strategic plan. And then we also had our Val Unified New Teacher Pre-Employment Orientation. We had that at the Tech Center. It's actually a 2-day. We split it in 2 days this year because one day was a bit overwhelming, and the mornings were heavy and the afternoons were very light. We got to do a lot with our new folks that just came in. So that's what I have for you under Superintendent. You also have your administrator reports from Mr. Doucette, Mr. Neto, Ms. Kelly, and Mr. Ricky Labby, and they are here if you have questions for them about their reports.
I had seen that you had put a post out, I think, on the Fort Kent Elementary Facebook page, like looking for community or parent volunteers to be part of like the PBIS.
Oh, that would
Did we-
be Mr. Anderson and Mr. Neto.
Did we get a good response rate on that, or?
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The PBS, like you were looking for like community or parent involvement on whatever PBIS committee. Did you get a lot of responses on that?
I wasn't told of any. It goes through our PBIS email, and Iris is the one that usually monitors that email.
Sure, okay.
And I've met with her this afternoon. She hadn't said anything to me. So
Oh, that's unfortunate.
not
Okay.
super
I was
hopeful.
curious, yeah. It's a good idea.
What exactly are you looking for in those volunteers? I didn't see the post.
We're just looking for parent volunteers or community member volunteers that'll come in bi-weekly and meet with our PBIS team, be a part of our team to kind of go over what we're doing and get outsider feedback as well.
Geez, that'd be a great thing for a school board member to do.
Well, I was wondering.
I had done it for a little bit when they first started, but just the timing was, I couldn't leave daycare.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Bi-weekly?
Yeah.
It's bi-weekly, it's usually we usually start at 3 till 4, so the time of day makes it difficult for a lot of parents.
We tried Zooming a couple
That's the time
times.
that works for the school.
Right,
Just,
right.
yeah, it's a chaotic time of day in
I think
daycare too.
PBIS is gonna be my baby soon.
We'd love to have a board member.
All right,
Get there.
I'll reach out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Robbie?
Just want to add one thing to my report, in that the building at Fort Elementary School looks amazing. The people that have worked there all summer have done a fantastic job. I don't know how many days they've taken off, and it hasn't been many, but there's been a lot of work to do there, and the building looks incredible. So it's all really their work.
Awesome.
We usually have a couple board meetings over there.
The next one's
The next one's there?
Yep.
Nice.
Robbie, what is the writing revolution?
The writing revolution, it's a different aspect of teaching writing, and it really starts the base of writing at the sentence level. So the whole, I should have brought a book with me, but the book itself really starts at the sentence level, building that into a paragraph, building that into an essay. So it
Instead
can-
of like word by word?
Basically, yeah. And it goes really, the pieces in the writing revolution can work from K to 12, basically. So the book is meant for full school.
So what's revolutionary about it?
Great question. So the biggest thing is when you're looking at writing, a lot of times teachers might assign a writing piece and they're saying, write this 5-paragraph essay or write this 3-page essay. And the focus of the writing revolution is start with the idea, start with a sentence, and let's build those sentences together into an essay. So
It's a
I think
different
the
way.
old result used to be start with the big picture. This is starting small and building
Oh.
from the foundation.
Thank you.
Robbie, I wanted to follow up on something you brought up last year, so we're going all the way back.
Oh.
You talked about a transition towards phonetic reading in the lower levels, and I was super excited about it because I'm super excited about it. How's that going, and what's the plan for that going forward?
It's going well. We had talked a little bit about PEPG, which is really that phonemic awareness. So that's going to be school-wide this year. So
Good.
the past few years, it's been more of a pre-K to 2. I would say the last 2 years, a year and a half. And this year, everybody has the resources, so that's going to be a pre-K to 6 venture. And really the idea behind that is students, especially some of our COVID students, are missing that piece, and they're still missing it in 4th grade, in 5th grade, and in 6th grade. So the more we practice, the better. And then they're not long, 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. It really gets in that practice. So then as they're reading, they can worry more about comprehension than decoding the word. So when you're worried about decoding a long word, you're thinking of the pieces of the word, not necessarily what does this word mean, what does it mean in the sentence that we're reading. So hopefully we're going to see an increase in our comprehension, not just our fluency and coding skills.
Is there going to be a walking back from sight words, or are we still going to keep that as a cornerstone?
I wouldn't call it a cornerstone. We still do use sight words, but it really looks more like sound walls now versus a sight word wall. So you look at how different combinations of letters make different sounds.
Okay.
So eventually the reading will increase and the fluency will increase. We're seeing it now already.
Good. Good. Thank you.
That's all under the science of reading.
That's all under the science of reading.
Yeah.
Word wall, sight words, and the science of reading, they don't really work well together.
Well, everything I've seen of sight words, had problems.
Outdated.
I mean, working with some of the students at the older end, and they couldn't tell through from thought from thorough. They're all the same word because they just memorize the shape of a word and they don't actually learn how to decode, which is just frightening to think that there's a generation out there who never
It's
learned to
that
decode.
comprehension piece, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're in a great path where we're going with the science of reading.
Thank you.
Well, I had one more question for you. Address safety concerns at the sporting events. Was there something that happened? Did something happen that I completely missed as far as a safety issue, or just we're being really
let's say you had rec
proactive?
basketball, and we had nowhere for our new tables, our grade, but we had nowhere to put them. So
Okay, so
into
the
a rec
lunch
basketball
tables
game.
are directly related to the sporting event?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So they were basically walking the halls.
I thought it was something outside. I thought something had happened outside. Okay, thanks, Robbie.
One more question, Mr. Neto. Just kidding.
On the spot.
Good catch on that, Shannon. That really could have gone either way.
Well, I was trying to think, did something happen outside and I just totally missed it? Like, what are we worried about?
Well, commas can be tricky. Can go either way. Jill, how are things looking this year from your perspective?
We lost some of our students recently, and we have kids still registering, so we're still trying to get students in. And we are missing a couple of techs. It's tight, it's really tight. Like, we had a family move in right now that have high needs. We could use some people applying for positions, and it'd be nice to see more substitutes, more applicants.
Yeah.
But, last few years, but really since COVID, I feel like it's been that way.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
But we have a big crew.
We've had 25 new students register this summer.
Wow.
Which is a huge number.
That is a huge number. It's like half a class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Pretty well spread out through the different grades.
Mr. Doucette, how are you adjusting?
Good. Got the first day out of the way here with the staff, but it went well. We've been getting an influx of new students as well. We had like 7 in one day this week, or last week. We're getting a lot of calls in the guidance department from parents and trying to get some information from other schools and get all that underway. And a lot of them do have special needs, so we need to have some IEPs and get things underway before school starts. But been a wonderful team. Everyone's doing their part, and we're getting it done one day at a time. And looking forward to the year here.
Is that normal to have that many new students over the summer? I mean, you're talking between the
It's-
25 and the
it's a-
7?
It's a bump up, and.
What's not normal is that the timing, right? Usually you get sporadic through the
Right.
summer, but it's like everyone's waiting till the last minute. Like, we're not sure if we're gonna move until like August 15th. Yeah, we're moving.
Okay.
School starts
Just
tomorrow.
waiting for the interest rates to drop.
So I take it as, our school district has a good reputation that people actually want to come here, and some of them are even from local schools and, in the valley, so, it's not a bad thing to increase our numbers. It gets tough though when there's a lot of the more special needs ones, because we are a little tight on resources, but hopefully we'll bounce back from that.
How's it looking, Ben, for our superintendent's agreements?
They're across the valley, they're down quite a bit this year. For us specifically,
Or what?
So, we have this ability to take on, like, say there was a parent who worked at Cary Medical Center every
Right.
morning,
Mhm.
and they wanted their kid to go to Caribou, the school in Caribou, we can have a superintendent agreement to allow that kid to go. It's a little more complicated in Valley Unified because we have one superintendent, so there's a little mixing and matching that goes on there, and I'm always kind of curious to see.
Maine claims that they're not a school choice state, but they have this thing called superintendents that allow them to have school choice. And if you deny them, the DOE will overturn your denial and grant them. So Maine is a school choice state. One caveat with that is that we will not send a bus to Frenchville or Madawaska to go pick up a student there. You have to live with, you can only bus within the range. We have 11 outgoing superintendent's agreements this year, 2 to Madawaska, 9 to SAD 33. The majority of those are children of staff members who work there.
Okay.
And we have 7 incoming from SAD 33, none from Madawaska. That's the state of our superintendent's agreements. Across Valley Unified, we're at 48 this year. Last year at this time, we were at 81.
48 what?
48 total superintendent's agreements.
Unless you're
Both
at
in and
81.
out?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're down quite a bit.
Okay, cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for administrators? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Items of business.
For items of business, we have no retirements, we have no resignations. We do have a transfer on July 8th. We approved the transfer for Michelle Gendreau. She transferred to the Educational Technician 3 B Wing Classroom Literacy vacancy. Prior to that, Michelle was in a one-on-one. So that transfer was approved earlier this summer. Under approved new hires, and these were new hires that I approved with your permission over the summer. The first one was for our school evaluator. Ms. Jill Kelly and their team did interview, I believe, 3 candidates, and they selected Iris Gagne for the position. Iris is now our school evaluator for the district. The next one is for an ed tech one-on-one, and Tracy was approved after the interviews for that. So Tracy has joined our team as an educational technician one-on-one at Fort Kent Elementary School. Our other hire was for a pre-K ed tech at Fort Kent Elementary School, and the recommendation was for Steve Roman, who had some experience with the Circle of Learning, and Steve has been approved for that ed tech 3 pre-K ed tech position. And then finally, the last approval was for our transportation director, head mechanic. There were 3 candidates that were interviewed for that as well, and the team recommended Mr. Ricky Labby, who is here tonight. And Ricky has been doing both the role of transportation director and head custodian since August 1st, and when I visited him today, he still had a smile on his face, but you could tell it's time for him to start doing one job and not two. So Ricky, thank you for being here, and congratulations for that.
Yeah, nothing you should.
Oh, I do have a cook helper. Oh, it's on the next page. And we also have a cook helper, sorry, I missed that
I
one.
want to say how good a job you were doing, given that you weren't looking at anything.
Cook helper position, there was a recommendation for, was it Natalie? Natalie Michaud, and I can see that my notes are all messed up. Natalie Michaud, and that's for the 20-hour cook helper position at Fort Kent Community High School, and that was recommended by Miss Melanie Legassi. I also wanted to make you aware that JMG, which is Jobs for Maine Graduates, has hired a new, what's called an ELO coordinator. ELO stands for Extended Learning Opportunities, and they interviewed for that position, and they selected Nicole Guimau, who was an employee at Twin Rivers. Nicole decided that she wanted to try out teaching, and so far it's been awesome having her on board. We're very excited for this ELO position. It's a movement that JMG is moving towards, whereas in the past JMG focused solely on internships. Now they're focusing more on getting students in career opportunity learning. It can be an internship, but it can be just a job shadow. It can be different types of things where students are just learning about possible careers. And as we move forward with this, hopefully this will not only be credit bearing, but it'll also be an avenue where students can credit recover rather than simply going to summer school. If they can make a connection through an ELO where they're meeting standards on a job site, however that would happen, and working collaboratively with a classroom teacher. We're looking forward to that. I'm going to let Nicole get herself settled in this a little bit before coming to present to the board, but I'd like to have her come present to you and talk about the program and some of the things that she's going to be doing and what we're looking forward to. So I wanted to make you aware of that as well. So those were all of the approvals that were made over the summer, but we do have some recommendations for you for approval tonight, and the first one is for our head custodian. Mr. Kevin Anderson led up the team on this one, and he has a recommendation for you, and you should have that in your packet. There's a recommendation for Mr. Benny Neto. Benny has been with the district for 38 years, and that came out loud and clear in the interview, where his experience as being a custodian here at the building really shined, and that's how the team came to their consensus. So the recommendation is for Mr. Benny Neto, head custodian.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Shannon?
And I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous? Unanimous, sorry.
In speaking with Ricky today, what we're going to try to do is figure out how the dominoes all fall. Benny has volunteered to continue busing while we figure this out. But as Ricky knows from doing this position for over a year, you really need to be on site as much as possible. Subbing as a bus or taking over is okay, but a daily run is probably not possible. So we're going to try to fast track here and see who's going to end up taking that run. We're going to offer obviously Benny's position to all of the group and see who wants to transfer, and then we'll try to get the pieces to line up. We're hoping that we can put things in play through transfers by next week, if possible. So we'll see how that all goes. The second recommendation that you have before you is for our central office personnel, the position that you approved to add to central office, and Lucy headed the interviews for that. They interviewed 4 candidates. And their recommendation for SAD 27's office is Caitlin Valancourt. She served working for Pines Health Services, Cary Medical Center as a recruiter and HR generalist, also for Northern Maine Medical Center as an associate director of HR. So all of the things we were looking for, she checks a lot of those boxes. So that's the recommendation for central office.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Thank you. And Lucy, do we have any indication when she would be available?
I did not ask, I wanted it to be approved first.
Okay, thank you. Current openings, I believe we have 2 Fort Kent Elementary one-on-ones, Jill. We have 2, so 2 one-on-one openings. We do have a district bus driver custodian. We actually have 2 now. One is for Mark Pelletier, who's going to be retiring in October, and now with Benny being approved, we have one there as well. Usually the day shifts are easily filled by the night shift personnel that want them, and then we'd be opening up night shifts, and those are traditionally the ones that are a little bit harder to fill. But like I said, we'll post tomorrow for those positions and see who in the crew is interested in them. So that's what we have for current openings.
So fall sports coaching
You
approval?
have the fall sports coaching list. The majority of our coaches are returning coaches. We do have a new JV girls soccer coach who's not new to coaching but new in the district. That's our English teacher, Tracy Boucher. We also have the assistant girls soccer, Jessica Jalbert, who's coming into her first year as well. But Jessica has a lot of experience, especially playing as a college athlete. And then we have Natasha Plord, who is the VRMS girls soccer coach in her first season.
Is there a reason that some are in all caps and I'm just missing it, or is it just a?
Because we're yelling.
Okay. Like I was trying to figure out what the difference was, and I don't mean if it was just a.
I don't know why that happened, but
Okay.
There's
I love the variety. It's beautiful.
There's
It's whimsical.
there's 3 people collaborating on this, and between Mr. Nichols, Mr. Chenard, and myself, and between the 3 of us, one of us might be yelling and the
Okay.
other might not. So.
Okay, so I'm not missing anything.
No.
Perfect.
No. It's not. It does not signify anything.
Okay.
Good catch, though.
Okay. I kept looking at it going, what am I missing? I would make a motion to approve the coaches for fall 2024.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Now, standing committees.
So the only thing remaining is our outstanding committees. We do have our slate of officers now. I'll quickly go through. Obviously, the ones that were held by Sarah and Kelly would need to be filled. But this is also a good time to trade and bargain with ones that you might have, if you so choose. So Finance Committee, that's, obviously if we are getting into some kind of budget crunch and we need to make some decisions during the school year prior to budget year, we bring this committee together. Right now, Shannon and Katie serve on that committee. Do one of you want to stay, want to give it up? You want to?
I'm fine.
I'm good there.
Facilities Committee, along the same lines, if we have a boiler that goes down next week, we don't have it budgeted, we bring this committee together and talk about how we're going to move forward. Tanya's on that one, and we would need a second representative.
I wouldn't mind moving from vocational advisory to that. It would be next door instead of going to Frenchville.
So anybody who has interest in vocational advisory, that's, we meet 5 times a year, and that's essentially to, by statute, a tech center has to have a committee that meets that many times a year for the director to update and make some decisions on some things. That summarize it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, looking around the table, my schedule is pretty flexible, so go, because it's like a 4:00 meeting usually.
Yeah. And Kevin does provide a Zoom option
Yeah.
as well.
I've zoomed in a few times.
Cricket.
I can stay on the vocational, that's fine.
Okay.
That was easy.
That was easy.
So that brings us back to facilities. Would anyone like to serve on facilities?
Was it either or, facilities or are you gonna do both?
How often are we meeting for facilities?
Maybe once a year if
Oh, okay.
we haven't.
You can throw me on there. I'm close.
Okay. Negotiations. We have Tanya, Toby, and Shannon.
We don't have a lot of negotiations for a little while here, huh?
We have coming up.
Coming up.
We have
Bus drivers.
bus drivers. I think there's another one. Maybe just bus drivers.
Yeah.
Teachers are done, techs are done,
Techs are done.
hooks are done, secretaries. Secretaries and bus drivers are the ones coming up.
If someone wants my position, it's been hard for me to get to those meetings, and I feel really bad for not being able to make some, so. If someone really, really wants it, they can have my spot.
I will remind that the chairman can appoint.
I can. I think we put 3 on the committee because we fully expected people to not be able to make it. It's a tough one to go to because
Yes.
it tends to be in the middle of the day or at 3 o'clock, which if you're not a teacher is the middle of the day. So
Is there any expectation that everybody should serve on at least one?
it'd be good.
The dropout prevention, what's that?
Mr. Doucette, correct me if I'm wrong, but our dropout committee was also our attendance committee. Is he ignoring me or?
No, I'm writing, who's on what committee here?
Dropout is wrapped together with attendance
Yes,
committee, and
yeah.
typically we have an end of the year kind of meeting, right? 'Cause
We meet like mid-year, just
Okay.
to see how things are going and if we need to make any changes or if we need to send letters out home for reminders, so
Okay.
depends on
Couple times
the
a year.
status,
I'll-
but
I'll
no
do
more
that.
than twice.
Okay, so Rory, you
Yeah.
volunteer for that? Can you make sure that Rory gets invited to,
For the attendance?
yep. Or maybe it's Mr. Chenard's responsibility now?
You guys call it dropout?
We call it dropout prevention, but it's also part of the attendance
Okay.
committee. Yeah, so getting back to negotiations, Tanya's giving up her spot if anybody wants it.
I can take that one.
Okay.
Good, because I don't think they
What
want
was
me
that,
on it.
negotiations?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Christine's gonna take that. Policy committee, try to meet at least every 3 months, especially as we're trying to brush up, these policy sections. Ideally it'd be every other month, but, every 3 months at the very least. And Toby and Sarah were on that, so we need somebody to join Toby.
And what does that involve?
Policy is updating our policies based on recommendations from main school management or just things that we feel need to be brushed up because they're just icky. We bring proposals to the committee, then the committee either approves or makes changes, and then we bring it to the full board after the committee has approved them.
Kind of gives us a chance to do a first read on proposed changes. The Maine School Management Association will be like, oh, everybody's doing this now. And like any peer pressure situation, it's good to have somebody look at it first.
Yeah.
We bring it to the board.
And I can do that too.
Thank you.
Okay.
There. No more.
So we're all set on advisory, we're all set on dropout. Adult education advisory, that has been a non-existent thing, but I think we have to have it by statute. I do know that if and when Ms. Stacy calls a meeting, we should have a board rep there. Right now it's Tanya.
I'm fine.
Good.
Keeping it.
Technology committee, that would be based on our new technology plan that we're going to be tasking Mr. Mitch to work on. And then once we have a new technology plan, we would bring the committee together, probably once, maybe twice a year for that purpose. And it's just basically, where are we with technology and where are we going?
And I'm fine
You're
staying
good?
on that too, yeah.
And then Val Unified, we have Toby and Shannon. Okay. So we're good? I believe that's all I had.
All right, if there's nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, a second.
Second.
Thank you, adjourned.